Yeah.
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 Oh, damn.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn.
We have liftoff.
Ooh, goddamn. The creme de la creme is who I am. MCA, where have you been? Packed like sardines in a tin. Look, man, I got to be honest. If I was Justin Robert Young, I wouldn't show up tonight.
No. I say fuck it.
I mean, why would you? Like, it's like the entire
went out
thing
to
the show's
Iowa.
about is already at maximum interest, and then it breaks, and then the president goes live in the middle of it while the other most interesting thing happens. I can't. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Great.
It's great.
Doing great.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's a very I felt so much for him. He went all the way out to Iowa.
Idaho.
Well, first he went to Idaho.
Did he ever do my bit?
No.
Yeah. He said he would do it like for the podcast, but I don't blame him.
Wait, then maybe I don't remember what the. Oh, he maybe then I don't know. I haven't talked to him today.
Yeah.
But oh hey, Bill Meeks, we got Bill Meeks in the chat.
Hey,
I heard you were just on Bill Meeks' podcast, right?
I sure did, and actually, it was one of the better. It was one of the better precursors for the book I'm gonna write.
Ooh,
like
yeah.
You know, each time
After Things listeners might remember this.
Yeah, every time I sell it or sell it, same thing. It gets a little bit more precise. As a matter of fact, John hooked me up with Harvard alumni, Randy Olson, who he has a whole thing about storytelling using and, but, therefore, ABT, if you look that up. And so I don't know if it was the simplicity of both of us having like a three-letter thing but I called up Randy Olson, hit it off amazingly.
Great.
He talks about how like his whole thing he just stole from the guys who do South Park because they would write a bad script and in their 6 days to air process, their first pass job was to take every and figure out if they could replace it with a but. And so if you think about it, like a bad story is, I woke up and then I brushed my teeth and then I put on my clothes and then I went to work and then right. Whereas if you put buts in there, like and then I brushed my teeth, but then poison infected my teeth, and so and but therefore is a much more interesting and a very simple storytelling device.
Yeah.
And so. Anyway, we got along famously. He was a cool class act.
Nice.
I don't know if I think he taught at Harvard. He's a PhD. He's fancy. That's all I know.
He's one of those fancy lads.
Yeah, a fancy lad, the fanciest of lads.
Yeah.
I hate everyone, so shut up. Says he saw the optics things, but still doesn't know what it is, which is amazing because we actually redid the entire video.
The entire video.
No,
we made it. There was an edit round.
We added a full performance of it specifically because we were worried about that problem.
I think I could see a world where if you don't know that we're selling you a magic doodad,
right?
You maybe don't know it's a magic doodad.
Right. Yeah, that's fair enough.
But I think you guys were very active about not wanting to talk, like certainly not to show what it is, right? Because when you see what it is, then you're like, oh, like that loses some of the mystique. But I also think people who are gonna buy a magic thing know what a magic thing is.
Well, and also every so often there's somebody who responds in the comments and they're clearly, for whatever reason, they've missed the fact that we've sold magic items before. And it's as though they showed up and they're all like, what is this? You're advertising a product on this channel?
A, first off, I went and deleted all of those. B, or I put them in I quarantined them, whatever. But I think the YouTube audience is a lot like other media audiences where they're very fickle.
Right.
And we've been doing product videos on the Scan School channel for
5-6 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's, hey, we got a new thing and here's a cool new thing, or like when John Tilton was here and we were doing every week.
John was big on. John was kind of king. I love you, John, if you're watching. But John was kind of the king of like, how about every time there's not a Scam Stuff product, we have all the characters say, "Where's the Scam Stuff product?"
But so, you know, even then we would still have people who were like we gussied that up in a lot of different ways to try and get that taste out. But at the end of the
all
day,
the puzzles and everything.
yeah, or a little like we would do vloggy bits.
Yeah.
Very little vloggy bits when you travel and whatnot.
We made the star of the show kind of the puzzliness or the giveawayness of the whole thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so, but A, there's always a new person showing up every day. And B, like, it could be a great ad, but there's going to be someone who's like, I didn't free and clear click this thing and want an ad.
Right.
You know, I think that's the thing.
HTTPS443 asks why we stopped the weekly giveaways. Man, it wasn't for a lack of loving them or loving what they were about. I think we did a really good job of creating regular puzzles in really fun, interesting ways.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was straight up a bandwidth play. I mean,
Right.
it's like, especially
It was
as
an extra shoot day every week, an extra edit day every week.
Right.
And what we got was promoting products, which is good when we have products to promote, but also like doing puzzles and keeping track of that, where at least the giveaway portions of that for a bit lived in the comment section of Scam School, and now they live in the Modern Rogue section.
Right.
But that's just the giveaway. That's not like all the other.
I want to say that wrapped up right around the time that we started doing the Modern Rogue as its own show, and all of a sudden there became kind of two branches to the organization. On top of that, there was a hot minute where we were being paid to do Behind the Scam, those giveaway videos, and then we were not being paid for them. At which point they ceased being Behind the Scam,
and they
started being Friday giveaways. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Friday fun time for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say for the financial realities and the bandwidth realities, I'm really proud of how long that ran and how good those puzzles and stuff were.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there's part of me that wants to bring all those back. I would love it if we. This is kind of an after things thing, but like in a world where what you really want is the ability to reach out to people and be heard, even email is a little bit dicier than I would like in terms of, well, because you don't know what'll show up in the spam folder or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a lot of people start to really aggressively do text messages. Give me your phone number so I can text you.
Sure.
Romney Malco does that. Baratunde Thurston is now doing that. And specifically, they're standing behind the assertion of like, hey man, some algorithm is keeping you from me. Let's kill that, sign up here. And
you've got to be very careful with that stuff.
Exactly.
Besides the fact, like, phone number way more valuable than an email.
Exactly.
And I remember a couple months back, maybe this was 6 months back, Ninja tweeted his phone number.
Oh,
and if you called
specifically
him,
if
you called him, you got a voicemail that was like, I'm blowing up right now. Why don't you text me and we'll stay in chat? And it was a text mailing list, and it was very like stupid.
So
and it was really shady because kids would go to it and they didn't realize what they were signing up for. So
here is what I think would be good. Do you remember the idea that I had of setting up the giant ARG for Modern Rogue?
Sure.
So the original idea had to do, if you hit a certain level of patronage, we would actually send you a $20 credit card burner phone, and then one day it would ring and stuff. But then
I don't remember that element of it, but
oh,
okay.
Really?
I don't really know that we got a lot of concrete information from you out of what you wanted that to look like.
Well, what I wanted it to be is a mysterious tier on the patronage under the Modern Rogue tree, where it's like, what is it? Fuck you. That's what it is. You don't get to know nothing. All you know is you're going to pay this money and it's going to be worth it. And then so you commit to $40 a month or whatever. And then you get a credit card sized phone, and one day it rings and it's a robot just rattling off a list of numbers. And then you type in those numbers because you figure out they're an IP address. And then suddenly it's showing what appears to be one of the security cameras on campus. And then there's some moment that, or another time the phone would ring and it would say, you are now joining the conference. And you would overhear Brian and Jason talking, but clearly what it would be is like, we did a podcast, but we're releasing it as though you're there in the room with us or whatever. What I realized recently is that we could do all that just over, like we don't need to mail a credit card size cell phone to do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, if that sounds fun, let me know, because I would love to do all that content in a special way. Because you're right, giving somebody your actual cell phone number is very, very precious territory that you don't want to do lightly.
Right.
Unless there's actual content of value that you're going to get out of it.
And you know, I think last time we talked about doing a Modern Rogue or doing an ARG around the Modern Rogue Patreon, it sounded like nothing like you just told me.
Really?
I think we were kind of spinning wheels, because I think maybe we were seeing it two very different ways. But that sounds like a neat idea. That would be a cool thing to try
right.
to do.
It's just an ongoing story. I mean, to be honest, I would love to get Brett Rounceville involved to help write it and stuff. I don't know.
I guess it depends on how big the infrastructure is in terms of like how much does it cost to make a thing that calls people once a month. How many,
from what I understand, that is much, much cheaper now than it used to be. And like like we were saying, there was a time we were talking about mailing phones to people, but I think that we could put that all together. Hey,
speaking of putting things together, hi, Bonnie Brushwood.
You want to talk about your new lover, George?
Oh, George.
Wait, are we not saving that for the show?
Oh, we'll save it for the show. We'll save it for the show.
Brian's getting cucked, everybody.
Yeah. I'm getting cucked by a big blue truck.
Soy boy.
What the truck?
How are you, Bonnie?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing good. It's been a while. It's been a minute.
Oh, yeah. Brian found a happy book over there.
This matter-of-fact attitude was typified in Fabia's own. She saw the affair as a happy ending to a time of stress and sorrow for them all. But to Tanya's relief, she did not claim to believe that romance had blossomed suddenly between Tanya and Vicente. She did not pretend that the marriage would be a phoenix of bliss rising for them. She was convinced that Tanya still loved and could not easily forget Benno.
Benno? This MFer's name is Benno?
Benno.
Benno.
How do you spell that?
He's running for Texas Senate.
B-E-N-O?
Later president. When she left them to their liqueurs and brandy, she supposed they would join her later in the Salato. But Vicente, escorting her to the door as others came to their feet and bowed, whispered that they might decide to stay at the table and later might break up from there. Not knowing whether he expected her to reappear or not, she waited for the Salato for the longest time and then decided to go to bed. Fabia, having handed over to Tanya duties which she had hitherto done for Vicente, has already
How old is this
gone.
book? This book doesn't...
Here, hand it to me.
Where's the fucking? Where's the fucking?
No,
That's going to be
love.
closer to the three quarters mark, I think.
I love it. Says, no one touches the heart of a woman quite like Harlequin. And it has this really
There it is.
salacious.
Oh, a
yeah,
back cover, yeah.
It was good stuff. So it doesn't exactly roll off the tip of your tongue, right? The reading.
Something does.
Something
Her
does.
delicate rosebud did.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah,
Sorry.
all right. I thought we might have two entendres, but I think we're just doing the one.
You're like, look, boss, we're now a legitimate organization. You can't do that anymore. That's crossing boundaries.
Let me. That's the thing.
Hey, Bonnie.
Oh, what's the
Maybe
thing?
should I make it ASMR? Am I saying that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to know what you think that is.
You will when Vincent brings you good news, Benno. Are you?
Well, you gotta keep on going. You gotta say like, oh my God, my aluminum can is cracking.
Yeah. And then
Let me
Vincent
just
came
rub my
crossing.
chin here.
Wait. Let me. I
One
have
at
to
a
make
time. We
some.
can't talk over each other though.
I have to make some edits. And then Vincent came crossing the room to Fabia and his polyester pants.
I would love to believe he came, crossing the room. Oh dear.
Speaking of coming by crossing the room, Justin Robert Young.
Justin, you're not even in Idaho. What happened?
Wait, what happened? Huh?
You're not in Idaho. Isn't that the big place where everything happened?
No, I was in Idaho. I was in Boise, and then I left. Okay. Sorry.
You sound tired.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. No,
So-
I am fucking wiped, man. Like I was up so goddamn late last night, with all the fiasco and talking to people, because it's one of those things where it's like you can't really justify cutting it off because you're like talking to these people like that are there and they're upset and they're like closing down this bar, and it's like at a certain point you're like, well, am I gonna stay here, like, or am I gonna go and get like a more than an hour of sleep? And the answer, of course, is no. I'm not gonna get more than an hour of sleep. I'm literally just gonna roll, basically like take an hour long nap, and then I've just been in a successive phase of various hour to hour and a half long naps from that point of biggest chaos in Iowa till like right now.
Well, we'll talk about it during the show, but it's like, number one, safe to say, one of the most interesting primaries on the Democratic side in my entire living lifetime. Separate fact, also the president's being impeached. Separate fact, also the president's going to give a State of the Union address in the middle of the most interesting Democratic primary.
It's right now, yeah.
During our show.
Yeah, it's happening right now. It's why I was late, because I was watching that. Like,
Separate fact, for the first time in my fucking lifetime, a Democratic primary broke. Just broke. Whoopsie doodle.
Sorry.
We don't know who won.
That's so insane.
Oh,
We
my God.
we paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for a calculator app, and it doesn't do math. It doesn't add right.
I mean, right. Like, imagine that, except you're
So mad. I'm snorting angry.
Look, and you should.
Oh
Like,
my God.
imagine that, but you quit your job. You believed in a campaign so much that you moved to Iowa so you could literally like knock on doors for the last 6 months. Many of these people are working for little or no pay. Like they are just there because they believe in these candidates. And it was one of the most surreal experiences. I'm at the Bernie Sanders party where the mood is black. Like it was like you remember the and it might be worth queuing up if people don't remember it, but the Saturday Night Live sketch where it's the coffee reveal, like a parody of those, like, you didn't actually have this kind of coffee. You indeed
like
had,
like the Folgers,
like
or
the Folgers
Brim.
ads, but it's Chris Farley who just like, you know, just freaks out,
Loses his mind. He's like, what the fuck?
He's just like, that's what I like. It's just this moment, the moment where
Is this the one where they ask him what he thought? And he goes, angry.
Yes,
I was
that's-
angry.
From Sweden, Schiller Visuals. Tonight, hidden camera commercials.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Are they hiding?
Are you aware, sir, that you are drinking Colombian decaffeinated coffee crystals?
Am I? Why, it's delicious. It tastes like rich-bodied regular coffee.
It took 264 hidden camera customers before that reaction was obtained. I am Knorben Knudsen for Swedish Television 1, and tonight we are going to examine the American craze of hidden camera commercials, particularly what doesn't make it to your home television set.
Watch this unused camera take.
Sir, do you realize that you are not drinking regular coffee, but Colombian decaffeinated coffee crystals?
What?
I said you're drinking Colombian decaf coffee crystals.
God.
What? You son of a bitch. You no good damn.
Pause it there. That's,
Oh my God.
that was basically the Bernie party last night.
Oh. I mean, I was thinking today, I was like, Justin is doing real journalism, like in a way that people that are on CNN or whatever aren't doing. Like, you know, like they're all like behind their desk getting fed lines and all this stuff. And then Justin's in there with anger.
To their credit, they had to do a lot of treading water last night. They all earned their paychecks last night.
I bet they did.
The most dramatic moment is I'm watching the local news, because the local news does their own big expansive thing, obviously. And their graphics package, I guess they were like, look, we paid money for this graphics package. We're using it. We don't care whether or not we don't have any numbers. And so down at the bottom, because they had no numbers to report, it was literally just all the Democratic candidates, 0%, 0%, 0%, 0%, 0%. And the only time you saw numbers with 97% of the vote was the Republican caucus, which happened as a formality. So literally it just went every Democrat 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Trump 97%. And it's like, that's all. Like it was just a total humiliation. It was just a meltdown and a shit show, the likes of which I can't even. I mean, I was in South Florida during the Hanging Chad stuff. The Hanging Chad stuff, that's the mark of a close election, right? That's like, oh my God, this vote is so close.
That was things working as designed.
Yeah, like normally there's like some flotsam and jetsam in a election, but now we're gonna go back and reveal this kind of stuff, and then obviously the tactics of what was gonna get counted, what wasn't gonna get counted, that was part of it, right? But at least that was the process. We got through an election, right? Like we had results. The fact that we didn't have any results until today, and it was 62%. It's like, you're not going to wait? I mean, at this point, you're not just going to...
Just wait for all the votes. Count them all.
Count them all. What is taking so long?
Gosh.
I would imagine that a lot of that has to do with like, there's got to be some kind of pressure where it's like, look, the whole reason that our ridiculous, separate from everything else system exists is because we're first and we get to guide the narrative going forward. It's 24 hours past due. What's the narrative and how can we guide it? So at that point, you get to most of it. I actually don't even know how it all turned out. Was Buttigieg a surprise hit?
So, yeah, I mean, that was the biggest thing that I kind of found from being there was like it really on the ground felt like a one-on-one race of Mayor Pete versus Bernie. Like, and that's how the results wound up turning out. Mayor Pete, another weird thing, that part of the reason why this was such a disaster was because the Democrats also wanted to report two other different numbers in real time. Super short explanation of the caucus. Let's say the four of us are going to have a night attack caucus right now. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We all show up. Our precinct captain says, okay, since there's four of you, you need at least one person for your candidate to be declared viable. So let's say 3 of us go for Bernie and Bonnie goes for Mayor Pete, right? Then at that point, Bonnie, because Mayor Pete is not viable or less viable than Bernie, now has a decision to either join us or join another campaign or leave, right? And just say she's unverified. So what the caucus wanted to do was recognize everybody's first choice votes, then everybody's votes after they were like realigning with other people, and then the normal way that you determine who the winner of Iowa is, which is proportional delegates. So through all the precincts, you basically are fighting to win some percentage of a delegate, or in some of the larger precincts, it's like a full delegate itself. And then, you add all that up, somebody wins. Theoretically, the way it's happened my entire life, that night, we know there's like the moment of the person who wins Iowa, except for this time. And partly because they had some app that they rushed through. They didn't get checked or vetted. Just total meltdown.
I got to admit, like right now is pretty much prime time to shit all over the caucus system. But am I right in understanding that the caucus is the closest to like a ranked choice voting system that we have? Because I liked ranked choice voting.
But it still has a layer
it's
of
dumb that you have to be there physically in person and do the horse trading to, get behind a new candidate.
So yes, it is ranked choice if your first choice isn't viable.
Right.
Let's say
okay.
So let's say that we came in and we were all for Mayor Pete, and Mayor Pete was viable, then we don't get to choose to then go to Bernie, right? Once you're viable, then you're locked in. But if we were there for Andrew Yang and Andrew Yang doesn't meet viability, then now it's open, right? And so we would then choose like, okay, well, Mayor Pete's close to viability. We could put Mayor Pete over the top. We could all go for Bernie. We could, and there's a lot of that like strategic horse trading there.
Well, I'm just
Also, by the way, at the State of the Union, just because politics, the simulation has just been set to silly. Rush Limbaugh, who announced that he has late-stage lung cancer, was just given the Medal of Freedom in the middle of the State of the Union address. They had Melania, just reach into her purse and just give Rush Limbaugh the
It's
Medal
literally stolen
It's really what? It's really
stolen valor. It's the thing that people always shout all the time, except it's real.
The Medal of Freedom's gone to a bunch of non-military people. It really is it's just like the president saying, "I like you. Look at this."
It's coining whoever he wants, I guess.
Coining,
like the coin.
Oh, giving him a challenge coin.
Turning him into a coin with a big crank at a railroad station.
Yeah. Yes.
So I see a common denominator, though, that Justin is always in the states with the hotbed problem with voting. So hanging chads, and then now
Florida.
What is? Hanging chads was great branding for that accident.
He's going on tour.
So what is the branding? What are we calling it? Because like everybody's saying, there's a hanging chad. That sounds amazing, but I don't.
Everyone's saying that.
Well, they did.
Oh, okay.
Well, back in the day,
but we don't have a good one for this.
This would be like, it was the app, right? It was like the
app.
Sucked.
Okay.
There's a crap for that. There's a crap for that tour.
There you go.
The best is that they paid $60,000 for a calculator app that couldn't do math, which I think the funniest part about it was people showing very, very clearly how they could have just built this on Google Sheets. And it would have worked flawlessly. You could have literally, if you were dead set on doing it, you could have built just a super simple front end for Google Sheets, and everything could have been fine. But then also, it's like you're putting an app that is crappily designed, right, in the hands. Let's say it was even well designed. These are fucking farmers. Like, there's a few people that are there in the big cities, but a lot of these precincts are out in rural Iowa. Like,
well, and it sounds like that's the part that broke, was when everybody says, "Oh, it just says call this number and report in," and then all of a sudden they didn't have the infrastructure to handle that.
No, because they were like, oh, well, everyone's going to use the app. So we're not going to have enough people to literally pick up the phone call and write down 4 pieces of information.
Technology. Isn't technology good? We should continue to pump. No, I'm not going to get into it.
I do want to
venture capitalists.
I just want to reiterate that I was way early on the. This is the part where I point to the envelope that's been there in plain view the entire time. My analysis months and months ago was most likely Biden takes this. If he doesn't, it'll be Buttigieg, and Buttigieg wins against Trump. Biden does not win against Trump. Those were my called shots, and they continue to be my called shots. I'll be really interested to see how it goes. Just want to pee all over those answers.
Yeah, I think the big question is for Mayor Pete is when is his next win? He's definitely not going to win in New Hampshire because you have a lot of hometown candidates kind of running there. Nevada then looms really, really large because he is the first gay candidate is certainly not going to win in South Carolina with the demographic makeup there. So he would then have to really be viable in a lot of these Super Tuesday states. But
I mean, did you see that clip of the Iowa caucus voter who, after turning in her ballot, found out Mayor Pete was in a same-sex relationship?
I was going to ask about that. That's such trolly. Like, I assume that everybody was on the lookout for that moment, and I assume it's real, and I assume it's genuine, and statistically speaking, somebody had to be that person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that person didn't know that the whole world was waiting for the homophobic Democrat, and she stepped in and accidentally played this role. Have you seen this, Bonnie?
No.
Yeah, take a look at it.
I guess I need to. How do you fucking spell this guy's name?
But starts with but.
Buttigieg, caucus, change. Somehow typing Buttigieg that way found me the thing I was looking for. No one needs to know my shame.
I love the fact that for generations to come, nobody's going to know how to spell the name of the president, but they're going to type the word but.
Nah, we know how to spell. We know how to spell Sanders.
Well, then I don't want anybody like that in the White House. So can I have my card back? I don't know. You signed it. We could go ask. I never knew that. Well, so the whole point of it is, though,
I feel for this campaign staffer. She's like his one of his higher campaign staffers, I believe.
Yeah, she's a precinct captain.
You could tell that
I spoke to a lot of Pete precinct captains at one of his last rallies in Des Moines on Sunday, but they were all like that was like a thing with them, but mostly in the ones that I talked to because they were in the Des Moines area where Bernie was also very popular. They were all on the lookout to be nice. That was like their thing was that they were not going to be. They were assuming the Bernie people would be mean. They wanted to be nice. And this, I think, kind of comes out to highlight that element, although not with the Bernie people, but with some lady who bafflingly didn't know that dude is gay. Like, I mean, really the larger issue here is where do you get your news? Like, that's like the he's a mayor and he's gay. Like, that's like the two things that everybody knows about that guy.
To be honest.
Well, he's also a troop, Justin.
Yeah. To be honest, I wowould say that his veteran status is a little more prominent than his homosexuality at this point.
know.
I think they're probably not leaning on it because he didn't. Did he even do a tour?
Yeah, he was in Afghanistan. I was reading up on him.
Oh.
And
he was not very forward deployed. I think that they're very happy to talk about he served.
Okay, after having somebody from with no military training in the
You mean Obama?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean it's the executive branch. And I think I've started to feel an opinion on that, like where you feel like, hey, if you're in the executive branch, maybe you ought to have some
experience.
Executive experience.
Welcome to 2016.
Yeah. Oh, well, fuck you,
No,
man.
sorry.
I mean, fuck you.
No, that was a fairly big issue in the 2016 debates. Yeah, I am surprised that good old-fashioned homophobia just showed up.
I like early on in that clip where the staffer is responding to the woman because she's like, I didn't know this. Was this in the news? And she had to very kindly say, everybody knows this. His husband is very prolific, is like out there. People did know this.
Yeah. It was very weird that she just acted like it was in the fine print. That like what? Like, oh, are you gay? I was reading the labels. I didn't know that they have that there's gay dust in here.
It's kind of like when you're looking on the allergy statements at the bottom of the thing. Then all of a sudden it's just like, if you're allergic to gay, to a gay,
it's manufactured in a facility that also handles gay people.
Right, right.
Peanuts and Go Nuts.
Yeah.
Peanuts and Go Nuts.
We have a show title, although it's pre-show.
It's pre-show.
Yeah, man. So how big a win? Before we get started, how big a win is this for Buttigieg? This feels to me like one of the must lands to keep him in the game.
Yeah, I don't know what his viability was going to be if he didn't win Iowa,
right?
Or come extraordinarily close to winning Iowa, because again, it's like you really have to win one of the first four. Iowa historically has been the most predictive of the first four, specifically on the Democratic side. I don't know which one he is next going to win, so that is like you can't just go 0 for 4. So yeah, I think that this means a lot for Pete. More specifically, the fact that Biden came in fourth is a big question mark, because everybody can tolerate the fact that he forgets words and he calls people fat and he remembers gang members from 30 years ago and he just goes on rambling ass Grandpa Simpson monologues. If he can win, if you're that guy and you come in fourth place, now all of a sudden there becomes the question of like, well, what is the point of a U?
Here is my best guess right now. It's really a two-person race between Mayor Pete and Biden, because
Bernie's not in your top two.
Bernie,
right now, Bernie is
after 2016. I'm not in the business of saying anybody can't win the presidency, but in general,
I mean, that's what we're talking about.
I feel like, in general, it's the Democrats definitely want a centrist, and they want somebody that they feel like is palatable to all of America. And in that category, you could throw out Bernie, you could throw out Warren, but you can keep Mayor Pete and Biden, and I feel like it's really between the two of them. But then again, I mean, look, who's our freaking president? I'll be the first to admit.
The thing is, I don't think that we're gonna get two moderates down the home stretch. I think that Mayor Pete needs to consume the fallen flesh of Joe Biden and take his Obama powers
to eat the Obama eyes that are in his back pocket.
Yeah, like he can just like munch on his wear his skin as a Biden coat, so he might transfix the moderates. But I do think we're going to get a big progressive thing, and I think that Bernie's that dude.
No kidding.
So how old is Trump?
They're all of the numbers. However high you can count, that's how old both Trump and Bernie are.
I know
and
Bernie
Biden
is like
is whatever 80. That number is plus 5.
He's
yeah.
Like I was like, oh my.
So Biden is only technically younger than Bernie.
Oh, really?
Only technically.
Oh.
Clearly in his heart, he's even older than Bernie.
By the way, for our young listeners, they are truly boomers.
That's true.
And Trump is not that much, is only about 5 years younger. Can I share something before we start the show? Because I don't think we have space for it in the show. Yeah. And if I hold on to it anymore, I'm going to explode.
Ooh.
Go.
If you know what this is, don't say what it is. If you know what this is, don't say what it is.
I know exactly what this is. I know what this is. Do you know what this is?
Don't say what it is if you know. Justin has a face that he doesn't know what this is.
Can't believe Justin doesn't know. This is my inspiring jam. Listen. The downstream power of this multi-level marketing extravaganza will blow your mind. All you need is 25 people who sign up, 25 people, and you will have all the money in the planet. Be inspired by this music. Feel your vibe? Is that what it is?
Don't doubt your vibe.
Don't doubt your vibe. Take these herbal products. Take them to your lady friends. The elementary school.
Is this Goop soundtrack or
Show
what?
up in your
That's a good
Cybertruck
guess.
without shame.
Yeah, this was the Elon Musk track, right?
This is Elon Musk made this.
Oh, did you really?
That's right. Anything is possible.
So-
At twice the price.
Made is he wrote the lyrics and sang this song.
It's bad. It's a bad song.
The thing is, like, the backing track is good because if you go and get a Paul Oakenfold reject like this, you're gonna get something fine. It's not gonna be hard to find a trance song like that. But the vocal processing and just not a lot of care. Doesn't feel like a lot of care was.
You know, I really support people doing projects like this, even if they're not in your wheelhouse, because I think they feed. Like, he is probably great at what he does because he really wants to make trance music for a living. You know what I mean? Like, but what he does is like, oh, I guess I'll just have to do this.
But he didn't. To be clear, he did not make any of the. He wrote the lyrics and performed them. He did not. My understanding is someone else produced the musical element.
Well, still, I mean, whatever he's doing on this is he's
feeling his vibe.
He's feeling his vibe, and that's really important to not share the things that feed your vibe. Like, do them, but don't insist the world has to listen to it, right? But like, have it. Okay.
So you're saying make this art,
Yes.
but then hide it in the closet and be ashamed of it.
Okay, I have a hard drive full of really bad poetry, but like, it's important. You got to do that. Everybody should explore the things that feed them, hide them away, and then have what you're really good at.
Jiminy Criminy, hold on. Oh my God.
Bonnie used to write out these poems and post them on the doors around the house. Let me see if I remember one.
Uh-oh.
Dear Mr. Craphead, with a head full of doo-doo, how do you do it? You say you fail so frequently. You fail so miserably. One would think you had a mind to. A mind full of doo-doo. Is that pretty much it?
I am impressed. Apparently it landed. You know, I think maybe I published these after all. Anyways, so to all my fellow crapheads out there, please indulge, because it's feeding whatever your mind needs to do in that moment. Like, it feeds your other stuff, though. I do feel like it's an important part of the creative process.
There is kind of like a beautiful free-floating butterfly aspect to Elon Musk that
Oh yeah.
I think it's a two-way street. I think, number one, he is like that, but I think also the world wants him to be like that, which is why stuff like this shows up on, Google trending news and stuff, because that's what we want to believe he is.
The big thing that shocked me about this was that I found out about this because I heard it on the podcasts that I listened to, which were all recorded multiple days ago, because this news story is 4 days old.
Yeah.
It completely got swept away. And
I was trying to think of why this didn't show up in this week's Weird Things podcast,
because I didn't know about it.
and then I remembered who is hosting this week's Weird Things.
If I knew about it, I would have worked it in some way. I would have worked it in some way.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hey, weirdthings.com. We had a good time. All right.
Yeah, I think this was also a victory lap, right? That, like, I'll bet you Elon probably does stuff like this probably more frequently than we see it. But now that the Tesla stock has like exploded and he's like kind of defeated a lot of the short seller people that would like seize on anything, I feel like that was him kind of dropping his nuts on the coffee table and just, saying like, well, look, now you have to listen to my shitty techno. Fucking, I already burned all your money, and now listen to my Don't Doubt Your Vibe fucking trance song.
I would like an instrumental version of that. I like that.
Wait.
What?
Okay,
Dropping?
I'm waiting.
I don't have nuts to drop on coffee tables. I don't understand this. Like, I don't go around putting my boobs on things. So, like,
Maybe you should.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why would you put your nuts on the coffee table? Like, what does that mean?
I mean, first of all, coffee table is lower than a regular table.
Right.
So
Yeah.
presumably they're so big and swinging.
Okay.
You can't put them up here. What do you? You need a jack to lift them up.
A jack? Is this a person or a piece of equipment?
It's a device.
It's a
plot
device.
device.
Okay.
Like,
Wait, what kind of motion is that?
it's using a jack, a very common tool, the jack.
Like you would lift a car, right? But you
Yeah,
have
a
these
car
big ass
jack.
nuts there, Bon, where next thing you know, you can't handle
Are you telling me
them.
you don't know what a jack is, Bonnie?
I'm just saying you're
most
jacking
jacks
that
we
car
crank like old
along,
Model
you
T,
know?
though, right?
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that how you normally do it?
No, old ones. No.
Aw.
No, yeah, because that's more like the NASCAR, like that they
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
lift the car real quick.
And he did
That'd be
it.
great. That'd be great if you walked in and you snapped your fingers and all of a sudden a NASCAR team came out, unzipped your pants, pulled out your giant fucking balls, jacked them up, lifted you forward on the table.
The guy with the
and
fuel is feeding you
let
Gator
them
is giving
down.
you Gatorade.
And then you peeled back the hair on your balls to reveal the current stock price of Tesla, and then
Dear
somebody
God.
runs in and then updates with a tattoo.
Wow. I was listening to a TED Talk about sleep, and they were saying, he started his talk saying, yeah, if you get less than the required amount of sleep, your balls are probably way smaller than the people that do, like by like a lot. Like,
Wow, really?
a
Like,
lot.
are you losing circumference on your nuts if you sleep less?
Right. Like you.
I would like to believe it's like please welcome world expert on sleep, Jenny Josephson, and she comes out and she walks out and she's like, you got small balls? I bet your balls are small. You got tiny balls, little bitty walnuts. Oh.
It would be
We are
really
very
great
sorry, Jenny Joseph.
if somebody were like at the end of a successful like Tinder date and in a moment of intimacy, the new partner just looks up at you and says, "Are you getting enough sleep?"
Do you want some Triple Z Quill? Do you want some NyQuil?
Yeah, because I'm checking out these balls here, and I really feel like they you could really stand to plump them up by getting a few Z's, my man.
Mhm.
Hold on, let me bust out this microscope.
That's his microscopes.
Yeah.
You gotta grease your microscope.
Oh, there's wee beasties around your testes.
Oh goodness, they have pills and lotions for that, I think. Yeah.
All right, I'm feeling like
You guys wanna
it's
do the
about
show?
go time. Yeah,
Okay.
here, I'm gonna run the rest of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go time.
Justin, you made it.
Oh my
Survived.
God. Yeah, and I gotta do tomorrow. I'm gonna do the show. Still have some audio from. To be honest, I'm still living in yesterday night. There's really has not been a lot to distinguish. Like, I had one of those mornings where when you're on the road and it's literally just animal instinct that like I don't like. The fact that I got up and got all my stuff and got it into the rental car and filled the rental car up and got to the airport and got on my flight, like a modern miracle. Like it's only because of muscle memory that I did it, and now I'm here and I just gotta keep thinking about like, oh wait, no, I was like literally just at this weird like it honestly feels like a dream. Like it was just such a cluster. Oh my God. The amount of nonsense last night, just all-time high.
Well, hopefully they figured out before. What is it? New Hampshire does it. New Hampshire does a caucus too. Is that
New
what it's
Hampshire
called?
is a primary, the first in the nation primary, and I'll be there,
Oh.
baby. Sunday night, I go to New Hampshire. We're there until Wednesday, so we might have to move Night Attack next week to Wednesday.
Figure it out. That sounds fine.
Wait, what do you mean there's a primary?
So in lieu of a caucus, they have a primary vote.
So
which
this
is more
is
like a
the
regular
actual
election.
vote. So we'll.
No. It's like it's more like a traditional election, but it's for the candidate.
So it's this one counts. Like you're gonna get delegates that'll go to the convention, but this is unlike Iowa, which is a caucus and has its weird ass caucus rules. This is just a straight ahead walk into a booth, vote for who you want. That's it. You leave. So there's none of this weird reallocation or first choice, second choice kind of stuff. It's more straight ahead. But the New Hampshire is, according to their state constitution, mandated to be the first primary in the nation. So basically, if anybody else tries to jump them, they automatically move their primary to like a day before somebody who tries to.
That's weird.
That's weird stuff. State constitution?
Yeah.
So we are in Texas, and I guess we have a primary too, right?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, eventually.
I think it's
Well,
during Super Tuesday.
Yeah, we don't do the. No. I mean, but we don't do the first, second, third choice, though, right?
Right. It's just a simple one pick.
In fact, I believe Maine is the only one trying on ranked choice. The closest thing we have to that is the caucus system in Iowa, which a lot of people are not thrilled about.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Texas will have its primary on March 3rd.
Right.
All right.
That I believe is Super Tuesday.
Right.
That's going to be a big one. That's going to be, be curious to see how like Pete plays in Texas.
I don't know which primary I'm going to vote in this year, because on the one hand, what's his name, Joe Walsh? Like his entire campaign is, I'm a Republican and I hate Trump. I'm like, that sounds fun. but then on the flip side is actually having an impact on a race that matters, which is picking the Democratic contender.
Yeah. Joe Walsh was able to secure dozens of people in Iowa to support him.
Yeah. I was interested. I thought it was really interesting though, because the our church had the Methodist Church is going through a big upheaval over they can't.
They're voting about gay pastors and all that stuff.
Right. Well, it's been voted, and the problem is that it's completely. The Methodist Church is worldwide, and you can get executed in different places. So they're like, look, we don't want to get our pastors murdered,
killed.
Yeah. Right. And so there are some countries for which.
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the Methodist Church split.
Well, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Is they're doing a very amicable split, and they're
really
So that's been voted on, and then the next round. Everything's happening. So what they decided is they're divvying up the money so that those churches can survive without the major church.
It's too bad it's gotten really nasty between the split. First of all, the new group called themselves the Bestedists, and they said, don't be a meth head. They're just ragging on the Methodists.
No, but our
don't
church
do meth, not even once, they're saying.
Yeah, no, but our church did a poll saying, hey, which way do you want to go? And they're all like, yeah, sure. I do the marriages. What's the problem here? And so I thought that was really interesting. And the people that were voting were all the older people from the church for the most part. You had 5% with the younger demographic.
I think you dialed in on the real split, which is between so-called weird societies, wealthy, European, independent, rich, educated, wealthy, weird, whatever, educated, whatever weird means.
Right.
Those societies, I think, are all on board, but
It's
there's
abnormal.
There are countries where the Methodists are very prevalent, where they're highly homophobic and
So, but
Uh,
in a very conservative community, I am wondering how that will play out with our, like, the community is conservative, but apparently they're not that bothered by everything, so maybe this candidate has,
Sorry, which candidate?
our, I think it's Mayor Pete.
Oh my gosh!
I know, right?
No, you're too late. You're too late. Too late to chime in on this.
What?
Yes.
Not our, but like the candidate that's out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are all the hot topics of discussion from 6 months ago, and it's pretty wild that.
This
to a lot, which makes sense. I mean, it's like you're not dialed in on all the politics of all this stuff, but it's like at the fringes of the looking ahead and all that stuff. These were the hot conversations from 6 months ago.
Okay.
But now they're going to be the hot conversations on around coffee tables across the country, because as we saw from that one clip, a lot of people haven't heard all this before.
I know. That's going to be interesting. So sorry to be old news.
All right.
Brian forbids me from watching the news, though. So I'm just the. Yeah, he does.
That's a strong accusation. All right. Any other things before we start the show?
I think.
No, man. I'm all good. Good to go.
Let's do it.
Ready to rock.
All right. Here we go.